Hi there, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today I'm doing two really quick pages that I was quite hesitant about putting up here, and they're both using the Collage Collective, and this is inspired by watching some of Dina's Wakely's daily demos on her blog site. So if you go to the Art of Dina Wakely blog, you'll find a whole heap of videos that Dina has done using all her products, and one of them was using doing collage, which is where I sort of got the inspiration for this. Now she's got these amazing books called the Collage Collective, which are full of her artwork, her abstracts, some of her figures, some of her faces, and I've always cut them up just sort of using the figures. I've never really used the abstract pieces in it. Or if I have, I've sort of torn them up and used them as collage in the background and sort of cut them up so you couldn't really see what the end result was. And one of the things that she did in her demos was actually just use the collage piece and stamped over it and did a collage over it. And I thought, well, you know, that's easy. Why haven't I thought about doing that before? So that's what I did. I chose a abstract that I really liked, has a lot of white space on it, which is something, as you know, I really struggle with, so it's already there for me. I don't need to worry about it. I stamped my image out onto tissue paper, or it's actually an image I already had stamped out on tissue paper floating around my studio, so it was sort of sitting there. And I've glued that down. Now the great thing about stamping on tissue paper and gluing it down is it goes translucent, so I can see all that colour from below coming through. So I've got this figure of a woman now on an abstract, and now I'm just going in with a stipple or pencil and resketching over the lines just to make it a little bit more dramatic, and extending the lines down to the very end of the page, which helps to ground the image, makes sure that it's not sort of floating in midair. So with the offcuts, so I'd actually trimmed that sheet down a little bit. And I thought it might be interesting to sort of have that little weavy pattern in the background as well. And yeah, all I'm basically doing now is just putting on a stamp. And it actually worked out. It's a bit like a sentiment strip really, because I was able to put Trust the Path on the little strip next to the face. I also added in the whites of the eyes to the figure. I love doing that to my figures because it just draws attention to them. You can sort of see very easily where she's gazing. And then I put some journaling on the page, sort of about my feelings about this figure and what I'd done. And that was it. And I was sitting there staring at it for a while going, is it really it? Is that all I'm going to do to this page? But I deliberately left it really simple. You can see me sort of playing around with these fibres too. Those are fibres I'd actually taken out of my journal. They were just lying on my desk, and I was kind of thinking it would be fun to try and get those on the page somehow. I just couldn't quite work out how I was going to do it, so I ended up leaving it. But as everything is in art, nothing ever goes to waste. So one of the other things that Dina did with her collages, and this is a really great example of the Collage Collective, all the pages are double-sided, which might seem a little bit scary, and I think that has put a lot of people off with it because they think, oh, I can't use it because it's got something on the other side. But each book has two pieces of the same artwork in it, and you can pick and choose. I'm not a floral person. I'm never going to use those florals, but I love this piece, so I can use that. So here's a close-up of the finished piece, and I've just put it onto a piece of burlap that I've stenciled with some white paint. And it works really well as a frame, which again is something that I've never really done before. I tend to cover my burlap completely, and Dina tends to put a lot of collage onto her burlap pages. So again, it was me sort of pushing the envelope a little bit for me. So this is me again using another beautiful abstract from the Collage Collective, doing my stamped image onto the tissue paper. And when I do these images, a bit like when I use the collage faces, I really like to fussy cut out around them. I don't like having a really white halo around things. That's just personal preference for me. Some people don't mind it, but it's one of the very few things in my studio that I actually do fussy cut around. So once I sort of cut out around my figure. I'm just sort of working out where I want to put it on the page. I knew I wanted it to be near those words, I can do this. So it looked like the words were coming out of the head. And again, I'm just using gel medium to glue that down on the page. And you'll notice when I put the gel medium over the top, the image starts to go translucent and blends into the background, which is the brilliant thing about these collage tissues. Now, if I wanted to stamp directly onto that page, that wouldn't be an issue in this case, because the paper that the Collage Collective is printed on is really, really smooth, so it'd be perfect to stamp on. The reason I did it onto the tissue paper was I really didn't know where I wanted to put the image on the page. So by having that tissue, I was able to sort of audition it. I could move it around the page a little bit and work out exactly where I wanted it to go. The final thing that I'm sort of doing again is drawing in some of that figure. I'm being fairly loose with it. I'm not drawing in the entire face. This figure is half finished, so one side's completely finished, the other side is just the eye, and even the eye's not completely shaded in and so on, which gives you a lot of flexibility with how you're going to use it. So you can add as much or as little detail into this image as you want. I'm again just going in with the eyes and putting the whites of the eyes in and the catch-alls, just to again grab your attention really as you look at it. It sort of immediately lets you know that, yes, there are eyes there. I also decided in this image that space under the eye was a great place to write, and again my journaling sort of fitted in with that I can do this message that was on the page already. And because I hadn't finished what I wanted to say, I kept writing. It's very unlike me. So all this writing is not readable. It's called asemic writing, that style where it's sort of illegible. So it did have meaning to me when I was writing it down, but if I went to try and read that again, going back on it, I'd find it very difficult to do so. So again, that's me just sort of thinking, is this finished or not? Which seems a really strange thing to do, but I'm so used to putting so much and so many layers on my pieces, I actually find it really difficult to do something really simple, because my brain is constantly saying you haven't done enough. And particularly for this, because a lot of it's not my artwork, it's all Dina's artwork. It's her abstract in the background and her stamp over the top. I've combined it and put it in a particular way, but yeah, there's more of her on that page than me. So it's that real balance of how you put things together. But if you've got 5 or 10 minutes that you want to do something creative, it's a brilliant way to get started. It's a great warm-up activity, and it's great for people who are sort of just getting into art journaling and want a bit more guidance, I suppose, of what to do. It gives you a good way of looking at colour schemes and so on, seeing what works and what doesn't. So I hope that's helped you break into your Collage Collective. It's so much fun, and you can create beautiful artwork as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.